I paid $2,900 for a storage unit that looked like a young concrete floor, a few tired boxes, an old moving blanket slumped in the corner. The kind of locker you buy when you've had too much coffee and not enough sense. But there was one detail I couldn't unsee. A torn cardboard flap with a black-gray checker peeking through. It wasn't plastic. It wasn't vinyl. It looked like carbon weave. The bidding was sleepwalking until I jumped in. 1200. 16. 2-1. Someone in a baseball cap pushed me to 27. I stared at that little square of weave, like it was winking. 29. I said. The cap guy hesitated, rocked on his heels, and let it go. The gavel hit. Sold. Pickup day. Golden hour over a row of red doors. We roll up pound 24 in the air that comes out smells like dry cardboard and machine shop. My friend Lena walks in first, ponytail, gloves on. If this is a pile of camping chairs, she says, you're buying tacos. We start with the boxes. They're heavy for their size. Taped with cloth tape gone brittle. The first cut is always the best sound. Rip, pop, sigh. And then the lid opens and time falls out. On top is a sheet of bubble wrap fused to something black with a diagonal twill. I pinch the edge and it flakes dust like soot. Under it, no mistaking it, a carbon fiber panel with an inspection tag, still zip-tied to a tab. The tag says, RH Fender, Rev B, Aero R. The handwriting is sharp, mechanical. There's a date. Early 2000s. We both freeze. You don't find carbon in civilian storage unless somebody raced, fabricated, or worked where fast things are born. We slide the fender out. It's feather light, the kind of light that makes your brain glitch because your eyes say, metal, and your hand says, foam. Inside the box are foam blocks, a bag of fasteners labeled, T, do not mix, and a paper slip with torque specs in Newton meters. Lena reads the slip and grins. Engineers, she says. Bless them. Next box, another fender, left hand. Then a nose clip under a canvas wrap, with brake cooling ducts molded in and a quick-release pin set that looks like jewelry. The edge finishes aren't pretty, no glossy show clear, just raw weave with trimmed lips and witness marks, where tape once sat. Prototype vibes. Function over flex. We step back and take it in. 3 crates marked Aero panels, 1 long tube, a binder with a cracked spine, and the moving blanket in the corner. Not a blanket. It's a tarp. We pull a corner and reveal a compact wooden dolly with casters on it. A dust-covered scale model car. Quarter scale, maybe. The surface is matte off-white with hundreds of pinprick scars. The kind of scars left by pressure taps in a wind tunnel. There's a spoiler on the model that looks different from anything I've seen on the production version of, well, anything. Twin vertical fences, a higher center section, and side plates with 6 little holes in a perfect arc. Lena crouches to eye level and points to tiny pencil marks. AE1, AE2. AE3. Test annotations. I look around for logos. There aren't any. The side of the dolly has a metal tag with 4 stamped characters and a hyphen, more internal than legal. On the floor under it, the faint outline like it sat for years and the dust made a stencil. Okay, I say. Either someone built the world's most nerdy cosplay, or this is a real development stash. We crack the long tube. Inside, rolled Miller sheets and vellum prints, taped in sets. One is a top-down drawing with airflow arrows and pressure zones colored in pencil. Another is a CFD printout with a date stamp and a heat map legend. There are trace overlays labeled Splitter Revo, Rev C, and Final, with a question mark in quotes. Like someone was annoyed they had to call anything final. The binder is where the heartbeat lives. Front cover, stamped, Aero Validation, R-Spec, confidential. Inside are sign-off sheets, routing lists, and test logs. There are pages that look boring until you read them twice. Laminate schedule change. +1 ply 0/90ths at will arch. Replace M6 steel with T. Note galvanic isolation. And, do not remove pressure tap array during transport. There's a photo of a full-size car nose in gray primer, on a chassis jig with masking tape whiskers. No badges, no vanity, just business. We do the cautious thing. Document before we touch. Photos of every page, every stamp, every scuff on the weave. Prototype parts live and die on provenance. If the story isn't airtight, the value evaporates. I lift the nose clip and feel the balance. The outer corners are light, the center heavier where ducting and mounts live. The backside shows hand layup. You can see overlaps and a little resin pooling in inside corners. Production carbon is robot neat. Prototype carbon is human neat. Feel this, I say, handing Lena one of the fasteners from the T bag. It's warm from my glove and weirdly dense. Titanium, she says, reading the head stamp. And not cheap hardware store stuff. We line up the fenders on a moving blanket, nose between them, and build a floor car. The pieces belong together. The arches are wide, but not cartoonish. The brake ducts align with the model like they were siblings. The quick-release pins latch with that satisfying click you only get from good tolerances. Next, the little envelope tucked in the binder pocket. 3 4x6 prints. In the first, the wind tunnel model sits on a turntable with tufts of yarn taped all over it. The yarn lays perfectly in some places and flails in others. In the second, the full-size car is on a banked track, gray primer gleaming under overcast, with the nose clip style we're holding. In the third, a close-up of a pressure tap array with tiny vinyl numbers next to each hole. The corner of each photo has the same internal code that's stamped on the dolly tag. I can feel the comment section writing itself. It's fake. It's real. It's a kit. It's a museum piece. Honestly, it could be any of those. That's why we do the work. Here's the plan. First, weave forensics. Carbon isn't just a look, it's a language. We'll map the ply angles at the edges, look for peel ply imprint, check for yellowing in the resin that points to age, and examine the cut quality at the perimeters. We'll also weigh each panel and compare to a plausible laminate schedule. If the numbers are wildly off, we'll know. Second, hardware and finish. We'll log head stamp codes on fasteners, plating color on steel bits, and the exact style of the quick-release pins. Period correct hardware is a tell most fakers miss. Third, document trail. Those control numbers in the binder and on the dolly. We'll cross-reference them with known supplier formats from that era. If we can match even one vendor code to a real company that worked on Aero for big Japanese manufacturers, we get signal. Fourth, the model itself. Wind tunnel models often have alignment bushings and mounting interfaces that match the tunnel's rig. We'll measure those and send photos, off camera, to a couple of retired aerodynamicists we know. If they say, yep, that's a standard turntable pattern, our confidence climbs. Fifth, ultrasound. A materials lab can non-destructively scan laminate thickness and count plies at select points. We won't drill, cut, or sand anything. Respect first, answers second. And yes, sixth, the question of value. If authenticated, the parts alone, nose clip, fenders, the model, could exceed what we paid by a lot. Not because you can bolt them to a streetcar, but because they're the breadcrumbs between drawing board and racetrack. To the right collector or museum, that story matters. We break for water, sitting on the threshold while sun stripes the floor. I look at the model and try to place the face. The proportions whisper late 90s to early 2000s, a compact coupe with squared shoulders. The tunnel scars are honest. The dolly wheels are ancient. It all feels right. Lena flips another binder page and taps a note. Do not publish imagery prior to homologation. She raises an eyebrow. We're late, she says. We laugh. Back inside, we check the crate bottoms and find 2 more bags of parts, a pair of brake duct inlets with handwritten R2, and an Aero under tray segment, with fastener marks but no scratches, like it was fitted and removed inside a clean shop. There's also a small cloth pouch with a key fob, stamped only with N, R, and a short sequence, the same for characters on the dolly tag. Internal numbering is the oxygen these stories breathe. We don't need to force drama, the pieces bring their own. Still, we end how we always end, with honesty and a to-do list. What did we buy for $2,900? A museum of Mabes. A pallet of Prove It. A starter kit for a real investigation. Over the next week we'll photograph every panel at high resolution under raking light to reveal layup patterns. Log and bag every fastener with location notes. Scan the model's mounting face and send anonymized images to 2X tunnel engineers. Weigh each component and compare to reasonable laminate schedules. Reach out, quietly, to a supplier named in the routing sheet. Price out non-destructive testing with a local materials lab. If this stash is what we think it is, we'll know soon. If it isn't, we'll tell you, and we'll still have learned something cool about how prototypes are built and tested. Either way, that torn cardboard flap was the best clue $2,900 ever bought me. Drop your theories below. What car family do you think these parts point to? Which test should we run first? Ultrasound thickness mapping or fastener head stamp dating? And if you've worked in a tunnel and recognize that dolly interface, our DMs are open. Subscribe so you don't miss the lab results, the expert interviews, and, if the stars line up, the moment we mount this nose to a bare chassis and see whether the wind likes it. Sometimes the best finds aren't who